Hi everybody, Matt here from Matt Likes Comics, and I hope everybody's having a wonderful time. I just want to take a few minutes before we get started with today's video, which will be Superman related, to say thank you and shout out to a couple people out there. I want to shout out Russell at Who Dat Comics. He works really hard and he's got a really good channel, and he has a very interesting live stream, and he's part of the band of brothers that sells every once a month on Bleeker's channel. You should check him out. He's pretty good, and I think he deserves a sub and a look. I also want to say hi to Beckerman out there. Beckerman and his buddy Alan, the Comic Viking. They do a channel called a show together called the Hucklebuck, which is on the Comic Vikings channel of Alan's. Both of them are nice people. Both of them, it's obvious they enjoy what they're doing. So you should give them a quick look and give them a follow if you can. And the last ones I want to put out there is congratulations to friend of the channel, Steve Driscoll, for completing his Captain America run that he's been working on for a long time. I'm very proud of him on his behalf for doing so. It is great when you finally put together a run. It's taken me forever to put together the action run I've got, and I'm still not nowhere near done to where I want to be. So seeing other people finish runs is kind of inspiring to me, and I appreciate it very much. Now, today we're going to take a look at a few Superman books from the Silver Age that I like, and I just wanted to share out there, and I think people should give a look at. Because if there's one thing that I don't want us to use the term sadden me necessarily, but that surprises me, is that a guy who is so critical, a character that's so critical to comic books, gets such a bad rap at like Superman does. People like the character, but they don't seem to like to read or collect him. And personally, I would love to change that. I've been a huge Super Family fan my entire life, Supergirl being my number one favorite, but Superman is a very close second. When my father took me to the theater to see Christopher Reeve back in '78, it was the first movie, first of all, my dad ever took me just the two of us went, but it just blew me away, and it made me a Superman fan for life. I don't care if it's animated, I don't care if it's a movie, I like it. Certainly the comic book, and I have collected a lot of Superman. So let's take a look at some books, shall we? This is Superman 165. By the way, everything I'm going to show you is from Superman's actual series. There's no action in this one. There's no World's Finest, no Adventure, no any other books that he shows up Superboy. This is all Superman for today. This is Superman 165, Beauty and the Super Beast. The cover shows Circe, the magician, the wizardess, the sorceress, whatever you want to call her, turning Superman into a lion creature. And I believe I know a guy, oh yeah, I'm talking about you, who really likes transforming covers. So this is one he might want to add to his collection. It's reasonably cheap. Basically, in the story, Superman ignores and rejects Circe when Circe suggests a romantic liaison, and she turns him into this. The reality is that Circe is Legionnaire Saturn Girl, and she's back there. They're there to stop something from happening. I'm not going to give you every detail because I want you to read the book for yourself. But you can get this for reasonably cheap, and it's a pretty good story. It's a Kurt Swan cover. I'm not sure if the inside was just before. I believe it was still Lil Wayne Boring. But Saturn Girl, the fact that it's Saturn Girl and it's an early Legion appearance before, this one predates, I believe. I think the Legion just got their feature over 300, but predates anything big. Worth a read. Next one out there is a pretty famous one that a lot of people out there know. Superman 199. Probably my favorite Silver Age book. Everybody knows what this is. Now, my copy's not the greatest on the planet, But everybody knows what this is. This is the first race between Superman and the Flash. And they end up racing a total of 6 times over the years. But the reason this is a big deal is because it's the first one. And it is a Carmine Infantino and Curt Swan cover. Basically, Infantino does the Flash and this half of the thing, because he also was doing Batman at the time. And Curt Swan did this side of the book, Superman, because you can tell because of the faces. Now, unfortunately, my copy has a black mark all the way down Superman's face, so it's hidden a little more. But inside the book, basically, Swan does the art and Infantino does the inking, for the most part. Great story. If you've never read it, it's been reprinted on a few places. This is a little more pricey. This is probably one of the priciest Superman books of the Silver Age, with the first appearance of Supergirl and first appearance of Brainiac and the first appearance of the Parasite. Next up, I chose Superman 200. This is from October 1967, but in reality it came out during July, and I know that because they mention Canada's 100th birthday in the book. And for those that don't know, Canada started as a country in 1867, so 1967 was our 100th anniversary. So basically what happened was Krypton does not blow up, Krypton does blow up, but the difference was that Kryptonopolis was taken instead of Kandor by Brainiac. And Brainiac was not the bad guy that he said he was. So in this book, the L family survives, and Superman has a younger brother, and basically they end up fighting similar to how Wonder Woman had to fight to become Wonder Woman. Well, in this case, there was this huge contest to fight to see who would get to be Earth's Superman when Brainiac's ship crashes and Kryptonopolis / Kandor gets left on Earth, and they decide that a superhero is needed. What ends up happening in the end is that 2 superheroes end up outside. You've got Superman's younger brother, Nor-El is his name, as the Superman of Earth, and Kal-El becoming Hyperman, Hero of Canada, and that's where they get into the whole thing. And he's a reporter for a Montreal newspaper by the name of Pierre Leblanc. Anyway, interesting story. This one is definitely Wayne Boring on the inside, even though it's a Curt Swan cover. And it is an interesting imaginary story as in what happens if everybody survives and Superman has another brother and da-da-da-da-da. Well, a brother, I should say. Again, it's a book that it's a landmark book as it's Superman issue 200, and it's relatively cheap, especially compared to the issue before. This is one of my favorite stories coming up. This is Superman 205, and it's the Black Zero story, okay? This is a Neil Adams cover, but I believe Curt Swan did the internal art. And basically, what happens is this alien Black Zero has threatened the Earth with destruction. He claims to be the person who destroyed Krypton using a specialized bomb to do so. Superman cannot defeat him. No matter how hard he tries, he cannot. Now, Jax-Ur, who is one of the villains from the Phantom Zone, as everybody knows, he gets involved. Red Kryptonite gets involved, and eventually they defeat. Jax-Ur gets affected by it, and eventually that is what helps defeat Black Zero. Great story. Black Zero, as a name, has lived on through the years as a terrorist group on Krypton through various mediums. It was used in the Krypton TV show. It was used on the Krypton in stories of the early post-crisis era, where Black Zero was a separatist group trying to take over parts of Krypton before it blew up and yada, yada, yada. And so the character, though, was a one-shot character. The name lives on. But most importantly, again, a very inexpensive buy for a great story. And it's a Neil Adams cover. The next one I'm going to show is Superman issue 208. This one is How the Mob Belled Superman Like a Cat. And basically, the mob somehow manages to put this collar on Superman, connecting it to some sort of major bomb that could destroy Metropolis if he didn't wear it. And of course, it sends out radio signals constantly telling criminals where Superman is, so that they can commit crimes and things like that, knowing where he is and hoping that he won't interfere. In fact, interference from him could lead to them prematurely setting off the bomb. Again, how Superman gets out of it makes for a great story. By the way, yet another Neil Adams cover. Neil Adams did a lot of Superman covers during this period, on both Action and Superman and Superboy, for that matter. Pardon me. So again, a reasonably priced Silver Age late Silver Age Superman story. You can get very, 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 very cheaply, but it's a fun read. That's the key. I didn't take out every single issue. What I took out were the ones that I thought were going to be fun reads for you. This next one has a particular personal feel, because my father, growing up, his job was professional psychic. And in this book, Superman fakes Clark Kent's death and takes on another identity, and that identity is of a professional psychic. This book I originally read as a kid. It was part of my uncle's original collection. This isn't the same copy, I've replaced it, but I read it a few times when I was younger. And one of the reasons I like it is the biggest reason Superman kills off Clark Kent is because he realizes Lois doesn't like him as Clark Kent and only likes him as Superman. So he goes through this whole rigmarole to kill off Clark Kent and create a new identity so that Lois would like him in that new identity, which works for a little while. But of course, you know how absence works. The heart grows fonder, the more, absence, whatever you want to call it. The resolution, again, of this story is great. So it's another book that you can get. I got this for $8 Canadian when I bought it about 6 years ago. And my understanding is it's about a $4 or $5 American book tops. And that's in the greatest of grades. So you can get one of these reasonably cheap. It's a Superman 210. By the way, them being on the boat does give a clue onto how Superman comes up with a story to explain how Clark Kent comes back. Yet another thing that when I was a kid blew my mind and thought, oh, they're so smart. I mean, I was 6. So anyway, 210. The last book I'm going to show is another one that was in my uncle's original collection, but I think is a lot of fun. This is another one that was also reprinted in one of these blue digests, those blue ribbon digests that they had for a while. Every second month was a collection of Superman stories. See, they knew collections of Superman stories would sell, but not necessarily Superman itself at the time. So this is Superman 213. And this is a Neil Adams cover, and it shows Superman in the front of a big vault that says, "This vault to be opened in the event of my death, Superman." What had happened was, Superman left this vault in his will and testament to the world to be opened if he died. So of course Luthor, thinks it's some sort of super weapon or some crazy thing. And sure enough, he figures out a way to kill Superman to open the vault. Now, unfortunately, the vault doesn't open when Superman dies, so Luthor uses his genius to finally open the vault, only to find out inside the vault is Superman himself. Yes, the twist, what a twist, is that Superman was captured by 30th century wizard Mordru, and there was no way he was going to get out. So Brainiac 5 through Supergirl came back into time and played Superman because they figured if anybody knew how to get him out, it would be Lex Luthor. So they played Lex Luthor like a fiddle, and sure enough, they got him out. And the next thing you know, Superman's back again. Luthor feels absolutely humiliated. But again, good story. Again, reasonably cheap. And Brainiac 5's skin coloring comes into effect during the story. For those that don't know, Brainiac 5 has green skin. But again, this is the last one I'm going to show for today. These are all probably 67. Well, I think 165 is 64, but the rest are all 67, 68, and the last one I believe is January 69. They're all good stories. This was the last gasp of the Silver Age under Mort Weisinger, just before he retired, and Denny O'Neil and Julia Schwartz takes over. So, considering that Mort has been doing this since the 50s, they actually came up with some really good stories to end the Weisinger era. And I think they're great. I have some of the ones that are in between in the sequence. I don't have them all, but I have probably half of them. But as I said, I picked the ones that I thought made the best stories. So I hope that some of these can inspire you to just give Superman, especially late Silver Age, another chance. Because this is the last hurrah, because Superman 233 was when Neil Adams / Denny O'Neil took over, and they depowered Superman. Excuse me, a bit. And so this is kind of like the last hurrah of Superman in his I'm more powerful than everything phase. There's some more interesting stories before then. There's one where Superman and the Flash think they're each other. And so the Flash thinks he has all these superpowers, and Superman only thinks he has super speed. But I didn't include that one because even though that's a cool story, I wanted to keep the numbers down. So anyway, I hope you like this video enough to like, subscribe, comment below. Comment below if you've bought these books. Comment below if you've read them before. Comment below if you think you've read them before and you think they're bad. There's no bad comments here. Only Zool. No, I'm joking. Anyway, so like, subscribe, make a comment if you like the video. Hope to see you again when I come back. I'm going to do a video that's similar soon with Action Comics and some Superboy books later. And then I'm going to do a little Bronze Age. I'm going to mix these up so it's not Superman, Superman, Superman. But I'm just letting you know that there will be a few, because I think everybody should put a little super in their life. Anyway, my name is Matt, and I like comics. And I hope you do too.